Aloha, my name is Ray, and welcome to Hawaii. So we're going to be covering some of the things that you'd be interested in if you're visiting Hawaii as a paraglider pilot. One of the things that I think it's important and foremost is about the local community over here. The local pilots are very, very warm and they welcome everybody that wants to fly here. But it is very important to respect their wishes. And there's a few places we're not allowed to fly, and especially the conditions is one of the things that we really got to pay attention at, because somebody might be flying and that doesn't mean that it's a good idea for you to fly. A lot of the local pilots, they have a lot of knowledge on the winds, and they have equipment that allows them to fly in windier conditions, and most people shouldn't be in the air. If you need a guide, you might want to contact some of the local schools, paragliding schools here. They offer paid guides. A lot of the local pilots, they will guide you on their own terms, meaning you come to Hawaii and then you enjoy your time over here and you meet with them whenever they're available, and they'll give you the tips and points of where to fly, where not to fly, if conditions are good or not. They're very, very good. They have a website, it's called windlines.net. On windlines.net you can find a chatterbox. You can sign up and then get local phone numbers, and local people will contact you. You can drop your name and your phone number there, and it's a great way to get to know the island and where to fly. If you want somebody on your terms, meaning that they will be meeting you when you ask them to, then you can hire an instructor from one of the local schools. Accommodations, there's a lot of hotels. There's not that many hotels close to the flying sites, so usually you will need a car as well to get to the flying sites. I would totally recommend that. That way you make the best of the time that you have here. Some of those schools will pick you up as well, but it's usually not the case. So rent a car, they're affordable, it's easy to find anywhere, and accommodations, you can find the hotels, usually not close to the flying sites. There's a camping, you need a permit, and that's a kahana, that's on the flying site itself. In Hawaii, we have many places where we can fly. So on the island of Oahu, this is where we're at right now. We're in Sandy Beach. Conditions are almost good for us to fly. Right behind us is this ridge, Coco Crater. Makapu is to that side, and it's beautiful. It's a ridge side where you're right over the water. During the winter season, you might find whales breaching right in front of the where you're flying. It's very beautiful. On good conditions, we can have some good cross country and fly 37 miles down to the other tip of the island. Those are rare, but it's also got to pay attention because there's some restricted areas that we should not go in, otherwise military would scramble jets and possibly shoot you down. Anyways, Makapu and Kahana in the middle of the island are the sites that we fly the most. Conditions over here are usually good year-round. Winter times, normally we have some light conditions where it allows us to do some different XC and fly different sites, and every so often have cold fronts that allows us to fly on the south side and the west side of the island as well, but that doesn't happen very often. But we fly pretty much year-round. So Kahana and Makapu are the sites we fly the most, and there's many other sites we fly here, but usually you need to talk to a local before exploring any of those sites because of very delicate issues that we have here regarding flying. Maui, it's an awesome place to fly as well. We have Dexter over there, and he's a great instructor, and it's one of the best places to learn to paraglide if you're interested in the islands of Hawaii. On the Big Island, on the Kona side, there's Kaliakakua, which is an awesome thermal site as well. There's some potential to be explored as far as XC, and there's some flying also happening in Kauai, but very limited there as far as access. To fly in Hawaii, it's important to have USPA insurance. The United States Hang Gliding and Paragliding Association requires you to have a waiver signed. And the way to get the waiver is with a local instructor or a tandem instructor as well. And then you sign this waiver, and it's valid for 30 days. If it costs $10. When you bring your gear, you might bring a quiver of wings, meaning the small wings for the winter days, your regular size wings, and maybe something to fly XC. A lot of people, they like bringing their lightweight gear, but be aware that the terrain over here is very rough. Our launches are very steep. They're with rocks, they're rolling, and they're very difficult for the beginner. So like rugged equipment might be better suitable for our conditions here. If you could bring your radio, the frequency used is 14412, and most pilots will have their radios on while in flight. It's an important thing to have. They can update you with changes in the weather, and if you're not going to the right place, or if you're putting yourself in trouble, and if something was to happen, it's an extra communication that you have with the local pilots. Flying in Hawaii happens pretty much year-round, and we have some very interesting places to launch from where they're usually steep and rocky. And it's very important that you have high wind practice, and you have perfected reverse launch skills. It's no place in the island of Oahu that we launch forwards. It's all done reverse in usually high wind conditions. It happens very fast, and it's steep. And our landing zones are also very small. Some of them, they have have trees around it, and they're very small and limited in space. If you're flying with friends, or the weather is not perfect for flying, there's a lot of activities here for those no flying, or the days that you're not flying. The Hawaii have warm waters, great snorkeling, scuba diving, of course the surf, I don't even have to mention, year-round. You just go to the side where it's happening. There's shark tours, it's one of my favorites. I always recommend that. And there's a lot of hikes with waterfalls. It's overall it's beautiful. Those who like shopping, we have outlet malls, you name it, we got it. But I know that's usually not what the paragliders are looking for. We have awesome restaurants, and there's a lot of activities for the whole family, including the kids.
And what about upgrading your skills once you get here?
I also recommend, basically for any pilot, to try to learn as much as they can from wherever they go flying. I think every new site is an opportunity to learn different skills. People, they do different things in different places, and it's very interesting to realize that, like sometimes what works best for you in one place, it might not be the best in somewhere else. And travel, it's a great way of experiencing that. One of the things I recommend is to try to learn and ask questions. Talk to the local people, be respectful, be humble, and let them talk, and then probably you'll be able to learn a lot from that. Another thing you can do is actually hire a professional and get a site intro or a clinic for that matter. So usually in the hours that you have in your site intro, you might do a little practice with ground handling before you hit the mountain, and just try to, even if you think you're experienced, that might be a few more things that you might learn from that. Well, I hope I was able to provide some good information. I'm looking forward to flying with you guys here in Hawaii. Aloha.